Today, Biden tells Americans to suck it up and just keep paying taxes until Ukraine's border is secure. Twitter suspends Jordan Peterson for tweeting a fact that contradicts their LGBTQIA+ narrative. And the leftist media blames Greg Abbott for the border crisis. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, and I am joined today by BlazeTV contributor Jaco Booyens, host of The Bottom Line, also joined by BlazeTV host Pat Gray, host of Pat Gray Unleashed, which you should be subscribed to both of these guys. Man, we got a lot that shook out in the news cycle today. Let's talk Joe Biden first. He was speaking at a news conference earlier today, and it was during a NATO summit in Madrid, and he announced, guys, congratulations, the U.S. will be providing even more money to Ukraine. Watch.
The United States is leading the way. We provided Ukraine with nearly $7 billion in security assistance since I took office.
That's awesome.
The next few days, we intend to announce more than $800 million more, including new advanced Western air defense systems for Ukraine, more artillery and ammunition, counter battery radars, additional ammunition for the HIMARS multiple launch rocket system.
Awesome. That is so cool. I'm so excited that, you know, it's not like we have any problems going on here to talk about that maybe our taxes could, you know, maybe we could keep a little bit more of our money. But Joe Biden also says that Americans should expect to pay high prices for gas, high prices for everything, really, for as long as it takes. Watch.
How long is it fair to expect American drivers and drivers around the world to pay that premium for this war?
As long as it takes. So Russia cannot, in fact, defeat Ukraine and move beyond Ukraine.
Awesome. He, by the way, for reference, said the exact same thing about high taxes. He said that Americans should expect to pay higher taxes for as long as it takes to fix the problem in Ukraine. I'm really, really excited about this Build Back Better. This is going really well, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In a way, I want him to double down because he's imploding his whole party. But it costs a lot to cover up the sins of your family. The piper calls, and then you got to pay. You got to feed the beast that has protected you, called the Ukraine. Not the people that are suffering, but the leadership that are as corrupt as Russia's leadership. No, it's easy. We just start producing oil in our country again. But this is double taxing the American, right? So now you tax at the pump. He's spending our money without anybody's consent. Who's voting on the $800 million? Who's counting at this point? I mean, now it's $7 billion for technology. It's $40 billion, $800 million. We know that Zelensky asked him for $4 billion a month last month. Asked him for $4 billion a month, which I think this puppet is probably considering. But it's America's money that he's spending. It's actually not even our money. It's just paper.
Right.
It's just paper at this point. We're just printing paper. And then again, none of this has anything to do with inflation, of course, right?
Yeah. I'm just really taken aback by how much he bragged. Like, he was saying it in a bragging way, like, we've sent $7 billion already. It's like, are we supposed to be glad about that? How in the world can you be so out of touch with what's going on in your own country?
Well, he's gloating, right?
That you're saying that as if it's something to be proud of.
And it was $7 billion, I think, this week. Right?
Yeah.
And then next week, another $800 million.
Yes.
Last week it was $1.2 billion. The week before that it was $40 billion. I think it was when the bill went through.
Yeah.
We're up to about $65 billion now. If you add everything up, and they keep doing it at a pace of about another billion every week. We're going to keep that up indefinitely because he said, as long as it takes.
Yeah.
Long as it takes? And for the American people to have to pay $5 or $6 or $7 a gallon for gas for as long as it takes, they're not going to take it.
I hope
We're not going to put up with that.
But Pat, sorry, Sarah, but Pat, while we know very well now, I hope Americans know that we have the resource in country. We can solve this problem.
Absolutely, we could.
We could solve this problem.
He won't because of the climate change stuff.
Of course not. Yeah, because of global warming. But But here we are again, same COVID narrative. They will push you until you resist, and we just don't resist until it's so late in the game, and then we resist. So this is me just again saying, I was sitting the other day going, there's 100 senators. That's a small group of people. That's tiny. Sitting in my church Sunday, and I go, well, this is not even a quarter of what's in our church. The tail wags the dog here. It's time for the American people to start taking very hard stances on these issues and apply unholy pressure on their elected officials, local officials, state officials, and make it, run it up the flagpole. Start applying significant pressure on those who we elected, because that's an unacceptable statement. How long? As long as it takes.
It is unacceptable.
Well, who decides that?
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think it's important that we take this time to acknowledge that it's not just the Democrats, it's not just Joe Biden that's insisting that we send our money to Ukraine. It's people like Ted freaking Cruz.
No, it's
Where's
deep.
the pressure on him?
That's exactly what I'm saying. That we got the same GOP, some of the GOPs that goes against the Second Amendment. Those people should be highlighted, exposed, and gotten rid of. Okay,
Danny Crenshaw.
Exactly. We do not apply pressure as conservatives on those who we elect. We let them go to Washington and just build a career, earn millions of dollars, side pocket some issues, build their own career, make deals on America's behalf in all the lobbies of the hotels at 5 p.m. in happy hour. This is an hour for America to say that's an unacceptable statement. Okay? I mean, Trump was impeached for a phone call.
A phone call trying to sort out the corruption
in the very country.
Ukraine.
In the very country that this guy is now lathering up. And then I hear people, Yaku, don't you care about Ukrainian people? No, do you know what? The real Ukrainian people that just lost their homes, they're in Poland. The Poles are taking care of them, and other nations. I'm talking about because the money's not going to them, Sarah. And oh, by the way, Pat, maybe you know. Maybe I'm just too ignorant not to know. Who's auditing this? Who's making sure the money's actually going to a security company?
I'm guessing no one.
Who are we buying the guns from? Nobody. You can't. It's vapor. You can't audit like PPP. You can't audit PPP. Where did all the money go from? The COVID relief programs?
Yeah.
No, you can't audit it. You just got to trust us that we're doing good with your money, Sarah.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people who are getting killed in.
Of course.
I understand that, but how unsafe, how war-torn is this country if Nancy Pelosi's visiting, what was it, U2 or whatever?
A concert.
Ben Stiller's, I'm sorry, I don't believe for one second that these people who consider themselves to be very important would risk their own lives to actually go to this place when they could just have a phone call. I just don't see how that's possible if it is in fact just so horrible and so deadly over there. Am I missing something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. And the fact that this continues indefinitely, this is why I've been saying for years now that we need to get our senators and congressmen out of Washington, back to their districts.
Absolutely.
They need to be around their constituents every single day so they feel that heat.
Yes, Pat.
They don't feel it in Washington. They don't give a rat's anus about what we're doing back here in Texas. Ted Cruz is fine because he's with the K Street lobbyists. He's not with us. And so they don't feel that passion and that pressure. If they were in their own district doing business here and they had to vote online for their dumb bills, then things would change.
Yeah, when Cornyn needs to go grocery shopping with his constituents and he starts being peppered
he's hearing what they have to say
15 times a day, like, excuse me, you voted on what?
Yeah.
It's not why we elected you. No. Let's incubate them.
Right.
Like an infant, what they are.
Yeah.
Between that and term limits,
exactly.
we get our country back.
Exactly.
Well, Joe Biden also took the time to blame the Supreme Court for destabilizing the country in the Roe v. Wade overturning by, I guess, upholding their oath to the Constitution. I'm not quite sure. Watch.
The one thing that has been destabilizing is the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States in overruling not only Roe v. Wade, but essentially challenging the right to privacy. We've been a leader in the world in terms of personal rights and privacy rights. And it is a mistake, in my view, for the Supreme Court to do what it did.
Okay. I think there are a whole lot of people in power who don't understand what the Supreme Court is even there for. It's really, really sad. You heard AOC talking about, that Congress and the press. That's what we're here to put keep the Supreme Court in control, keep them under control. It's like, I get the whole checks and balances thing, but no, it's kind of the exact opposite. The Supreme Court is there to keep you in check whenever you pass a law that is not constitutional. Does anyone in D.C. understand how this is supposed to work?
Sarah, I watched that clip, and I want to just for a second ponder this, Pat, where he is at. Who's he talking to, and where is he? It's like a husband that goes into the locker room of the golf club and speaks ill of his wife in the locker room about bedroom conversation, okay?
Yeah.
That was a treasonous act. He's standing on
You're
a
right.
world stage.
Yeah, in Madrid.
Right.
Airing out a contentious conversation that's a personal matter to the United States. It's got nothing to do with any other nation. Number one, he's misrepresenting a law because the only job the Supreme Court has is to uphold the Constitution. So number one, he's misrepresenting our country. He's a poor representative. But then he goes out and takes an internal grievance in our country and he airs it out in Madrid. Like a guy who's slandering his wife in a locker room. That kind of a guy, he walks out of the locker room into the ER. That's what should happen. That is to me, as an immigrant, that is a treasonous betrayal of the United States, of the ethics of our country. At Madrid, you're going to go make a statement like that none of the American people. Wait a minute. We passed a law back to the states according to the Constitution, and you're going to go stand in Madrid and go, the greatest mishap that just happened is our Supreme Court is so corrupt. In Madrid?
Yeah.
You're right. Despicable.
It's not just that, too. And Pat, I want to get your thoughts on this, but he also, in Madrid, called on Congress to end the filibuster to codify Roe v. Wade because, it's always democracy, democracy, democracy. Watch.
The most important thing to be clear about is we have to change, I believe we have to codify Roe v. Wade in the law. And the way to do that is to make sure that Congress votes to do that. And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be, we provide an exception for this, require an exception to the filibuster for this action to deal with the Supreme Court decision.
He doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. I can the filibuster. He knows the word filibuster is supposed to fit in there somewhere.
Right.
He doesn't know what comes before or after it. It's despicable.
Yeah.
And he's airing our dirty laundry, like Yaku just said.
It's got nothing to do
in
with
Europe.
the world.
Right.
It's got
Nothing to do with
the
them. They
filibuster.
probably don't even know what the hell he's talking
they're
about.
like, the what?
What? What do you mean the filibuster? I don't even know what that is. What do you mean?
What is the Spanish translation for this?
So he's yakking about the filibuster. He's yakking about not only did they overturn Roe v. Wade, but they they challenged our privacy. They challenged, what does that even mean? They challenged our privacy.
Bogus.
What are you talking about?
Complete bogus.
Show me the challenge to privacy. And by the way, we also challenge privacy in the United States of America. They didn't say anything about privacy to my knowledge. I haven't seen it if they
anything,
did.
they gave rights back to the people. They said, hey,
Yeah.
your state, you go vote.
Right.
The Supreme Court will no longer rule over you. So California, I said it the other day, I'll say it again. You want to kill babies and go to hell? Then you vote that way. Then you do that. You can do it. Or Texas, you say we're going to defend babies, then you do that. The Supreme Court's no longer going to take your right from you to vote for your elected officials.
They gave up power and gave it back to the people. That's an amazing thing.
Which is anti-big
That almost
government.
never happens.
No.
That almost never happened. It happened with George Washington. It just happened this week. And that's about it. That's about it. So it's incredible what they did, giving up power like that. And they don't get any credit for it.
And I know you, it drives you nuts whenever they call this a democracy.
Drives me out of my mind.
Well, but
I agree with Pat. We're a republic.
I know, but I'm saying if they really do want democracy, this would be democracy working, would it not?
Yes.
Like
You-
this
yes.
would be
Yes.
not like no longer your lives are dictated by 9 people.
Yes.
Rather, they're saying we want to give the power back to the
Right.
people where it belongs.
Yes.
And they're like, no, we don't like democracy now. Be
see,
more
what they wanna-
authoritarian.
They want to control the 9 people
Right.
to control the 360
Well, that's how democracy
million.
works, obviously. All right, we got to get to more. First, we got to thank our sponsor, SweatBlock. So, SweatBlock is look, sweating is gross. There are a lot of people who I know are very embarrassed by it because you got a lot of sweat accumulation up in your armpit area, and then you like don't want to raise your arm because it's embarrassing. Maybe you're out on a date and you're like very self-conscious about it. You got to try SweatBlock. If you use their wipes, you could have it work for up to 7 days per use. I'm not kidding. You get a dry shirt guarantee, and if SweatBlock doesn't keep you dry, you do get your money back, so you have nothing to lose. My husband uses this stuff because, sorry, honey, but he's one of the ones that gets the pit stains and everything with the sweat. Not anymore since using SweatBlock, and it is Texas, and it is summertime. So he's had a whole lot of chances to really try this out. It's manufactured right here in the United States, and you can go to sweatblock.com. Use promo code NEWS and save 20% over at sweatblock.com, promo code NEWS. Twitter has suspended psychologist Jordan Peterson's account after he tweeted about it gets very difficult to talk about this because, you're not supposed to dead name, you're not supposed to use former pronouns. I don't know. But so this is Ellen Page, who is now, Elliot Page, who is now going by the name Elliot Page because Ellen Page is very confused and thinks that she is actually a he. And so he was talking about this, and he said, remember when pride was a sin? And Ellen Page just had her breasts removed by a criminal physician. So that was apparently a big no-no to Twitter, and they suspended his account over saying
What part of that
Ellen
was not
Page.
true? I
Exactly.
wonder.
It's a great question, Pat. Ellen
Interesting.
Page just had her breasts removed by a
Okay.
criminal physician.
Which means truth
Yeah.
is censored.
Yes.
It's-
Yes, you can't speak the truth.
It's
anymore.
interesting because I just filmed an interview with Dr. Peter McCullough yesterday that's going to air only exclusively on BlazeTV because we can't put it anywhere else. It's not allowed anywhere else. And you're talking about, I sat here and I was talking to this man who is like one of the world's most renowned doctors, has so much knowledge and is talking about his own professional experience. And I'm like, how sad is it that we live in a world where Twitter gets to decide that this man isn't credible?
Yeah.
There's no one more credible to be talking about it, arguably in the world than this guy, and he's not allowed to give the truth or his opinion on something.
Yeah, you got a blue hair, 20-hour a week,
Right.
pot smoking, gum chewing,
It's just like the
lazy person
audacity.
deciding that doctor is not credible, at Twitter saying, no, we're going to cancel this voice. But the cool thing, something positive happened. Jordan Peterson, officially joined the Daily Wire team. He's now on their team. He's officially on their team, and so hopefully that platform will give him a lot more exposure, and maybe Jordan can do well with a little break from Twitter himself.
It's interesting too because Ellen, I think, is still going by Ellen
Really?
on her series Umbrella Academy on Netflix. You guys aren't familiar with it?
No, I know that.
No, I know the series, but I'm not
Yeah,
watching
I don't watch it.
She's still female, and I
When it fits.
believe is being credited as Ellen, not Elliot.
What?
I think. I haven't seen it yet. My boys were telling me about it because they're big fans too. So I'm gonna have to look and check that out. But they said she's still a girl on the show,
That's got to be so
which is weird.
Yeah,
right?
that's got to be really weird.
She made a big deal out of that. Wants to be a he.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's a confused mind. It's a confused person, and there's no rudder.
It was
there's
a
no
mental
stability.
disease.
Absolutely.
What? 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, it's still.
in the diagnostic manual.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
And now we're celebrating it and having doctors chop off people's body parts.
And it's going really well, right?
It's
Society's
going
looking, it's
real
going
well.
well, Pat.
if you
Yeah,
cho-
it is.
if
It's working.
if you
it's going
chopped
well.
off your arm, if you said, you know what, I don't feel like I'm comfortable in my own body. I feel like I was supposed to be born
A kangaroo.
disabled.
A kangaroo with
No,
no
I
arms,
was supposed to be born disabled.
yeah.
Okay. I chopped off my own arm. They would throw you directly in the loony bin.
Mm-hmm.
You're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow we have doctors assisting women to cut off their own breasts.
Sarah, not just women. We have a Texas doctor in Austin that's booked out 6 months for performing double mastectomies on 12 and 14-year-olds.
Stop.
My
Yes.
gosh.
Booked out 6 months.
6 months?
6 months for performing double mastectomies on children.
Oh my gosh.
Which is obviously coerced by a parent. So yes, it's bad when it's Ellen Page, but she is an adult. It's a she, right?
Yes.
She's making that decision. This is happening on children.
God help us.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
blood
of-
will. Oh,
Literally.
it will be.
These sins.
It will be avenged. I mean, there will be payment for that.
So speaking of the kid thing, there was a 29-year-old biological male who is identifying as a woman and apparently defeated several young girls to win a New York women's skateboarding contest. So this is Ricky Tress, 29, won first place in the women's division. Ricky actually beat out 13-year-old runner-up Shiloh and 3 other children, including a 10-year-old girl. And then bragged to the Daily Mail, I wasn't going to go easy on them just because they're kids. So that's cute.
Or females.
Right.
Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
A 29-year-old man going up against a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And guess what? He won.
We're
what
all
a
shocked.
shocker.
We're all shocked.
Congratulations,
I did
Ricky.
not-
That was, wow, who saw that coming?
I didn't.
Nobody.
I didn't.
No, you couldn't. You just couldn't see that coming.
And I feel so sad for the runner-up because this was last year's winner. It was last year's winner.
Yeah.
Clearly would have been the winner again.
And there was prize money involved, too.
Oh, look,
So-
she's beautiful.
Yeah,
look at her.
Isn't she
is
lovely?
Wow,
Where's the
so
she?
cute.
I don't see the she. What are you talking about? That's a sick bastard, is what that is. Okay? That's what that is. That's what it looks like.
There you go.
Yeah, bastard's not a swear word.
Oh my gosh, look, that's him before. Look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
Oh, my gosh. Oh. So he got a perm and now he's a girl. Is that what it is?
No, but not just
All
that.
right.
The mentality that you want to go up against children, you're sick.
Yeah.
That's a sick, demented human being.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Let's call it what it is. I don't care who censors what here. That is what sickness looks like. That's a person in serious emotional and mental need of help. I mean, that's what that is.
Look, I'm not trying to shift the blame onto the other participants of the competition, but as a parent, I don't think that I could allow my daughter to be put in that position. I'd be like, we're just not going to compete.
Let him
then.
compete against himself.
Well, right, because you know what's going to happen. So it's like, why would you subject your children to such a just complete and total farce? I just don't get it.
Can you imagine that conversation now between that mother and that child who won last year, who's working hard on skateboarding?
That's what I'm saying.
How do you explain that now? Well, honey, you know what? Life's just not fair. You're going to have some old dude that's 29. He's just a little troubled, but he's going to come compete against you. He's going to perm his hair. No, that's a sickness.
Well, don't worry. Ricky said that he doesn't have a physical advantage. So I don't think I have a physical advantage. Look at me. I'm not buff or anything. I don't work out really. I just skateboard, and I don't think skateboarding has anything to do with physicality, especially when you look at kids these days. So you heard it there, straight from the source. Is this he doesn't have a physical advantage, and we're just gonna smile and believe that. Yeah. Okay. All right. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Moink. So I don't know if you realize that 60% of U.S. pork production actually comes from one company owned by the Chinese, and their hogs are given something called ractopamine, which is banned in 160 countries, including China itself, yet you can find it in your grocery aisle every day. Don't do that. Stop buying your meat from the store. You got to try Moink. They deliver grass-fed and grass-finished beef and lamb, pork and chicken, Alaskan salmon directly to your door. You can choose the meat that's delivered in every box. They've got ribeyes, chicken breasts, pork chops. They've got it all, and you can cancel anytime. My family loves Moink. I know I tell you guys this all the time. My son is obsessed with everything they have. He asks for their bacon all the time. I think he's probably eaten his weight in Moink bacon. You got to keep American farming going by signing up at moinkbox.com/news, and you will get free filet mignon in every order for an entire year. You cannot sleep on this deal. It is awesome. moinkbox.com/news. CBS News tweeted out a segment last night on the 53 illegals found dead at the border in the back of an abandoned tractor trailer, or I think it was in San Antonio. The host, instead of asking about Biden's policies, which obviously led to this tragedy, instead focused on Greg Abbott. Watch.
I want to ask about Texas Governor Greg Abbott's response, because he has touted border security agreements with Mexican governors. But Customs and Border Patrol encounters have gone up in 3 months since those deals were brokered. Is this, along with migrant deaths raising any questions about how effective Abbott's efforts have actually been at the border?
Yeah, Governor Abbott has certainly positioned himself as a leading opponent of President Biden's immigration and border policies. The Texas governor has already instructed officials to arrest migrants on state trespassing charges. He has deployed National Guard units to the U.S.-Mexico border. He has stopped licensing federal shelters for unaccompanied children.
Great.
And he has also instructed state officials to intercept and stop vehicles suspected of transporting migrants who were released from Border Patrol
That's not what she was hoping for.
No, it's not. It's not.
That is not what you wanted.
You're just like,
hey, hon, do you know that's done by the federal government? Puddin'? Did you, hello?
That girl is as
Anybody
ditzy.
home?
She's at ditzy. Yeah, exactly. That is a Barbie doll with two brain
That
cells.
was bad. That was really bad journalism.
I mean,
Wow.
That, you know why? Because they're just all activists these days. They're not like they don't know anything about actual journalism. They just want to paint a narrative and get it out to their stupid viewers.
Unbelievable. And it blew up in her face with that interview, and that was a very robotic performance there at the end by that guy. But no, the fact of the matter is...
Yeah, he was not good. I also have some questions about his hair.
Yeah, someone does not like him
I'll
enough
leave
to be
that for
honest
another
with you.
day.
Look,
What is going on?
Sarah was like, is that a
that's a good
yarmulke? I'm like,
point.
no, Sarah, a yarmulke goes on the temple. It's not a yarmulke.
I know.
It
but
almost does look like a yarmulke, though.
Yeah, because I thought
does.
maybe he was wearing it wrong. I don't know, Yaku. Explain to me
Back
why
of the head
there's just
yarmulke. In the front, he did a little of the fiber spray.
He did a little too much
He needs keeps. We need to bring keeps back. He needs
He
keeps.
does need keeps. We'll send him some.
No, but look, and in all seriousness, it's federal, and we understand that the border is open like Swiss cheese. It's wide open. There's no federal support. And yes,
And that's why Abbott has to take all the steps that he talks
He's doing
about.
everything he can. But it's 100% on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
100%.
No question.
Solely on, let's throw Kamala in there as well. Let's just for good measure. It's on the White House. It's on the president and the vice president of the United States, because it turned on a dime the day he took office. I mean, the cartel chatter, we work on the border, Pat. Did you stop cartel members and you ask them why? They go, because it's open. They tell you the border's wide open. They know that Border Patrol by the federal government is not allowed to deport them. They can't send them back. They can't frisk them. They can't interrogate them. They basically facilitate them into a white unmarked bus or a van or an airplane from Laughlin Air Force Base, and they send them into America. And it's flooding across our border, and it's 100% on the hands of Joe Biden. So yes, that tractor trailer, unfortunately, with people dying, which the federal government will not tell you what ethnicity and where they came from and give you any information, that is on the hands of Joe Biden.
Yeah, and it's not like this hasn't happened before, because the exact same thing has happened multiple times in
No, we
Texas.
just saw it on camera now.
Not
It
as
happens
many.
every night, though, on
it happens
private property.
all the time.
Yeah.
But I think the most I've seen die from this previously was 18 or 20, but this 53 is an all-time record for immigrant deaths like that. And it's just, I mean, what a way to go. It's just, they've got to put a stop to this.
Yeah.
They've got to stop it.
Yeah, what's so frustrating is that they're always painting themselves as the the passionate ones, the compassionate ones,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Nothing compassionate about this.
Right, exactly.
Nothing.
Oh, we care about those brown people. We care about them.
No,
you
you
don't. It's like, no, if you cared a lick about them, you would stop encouraging them to make this dangerous journey, to send their children with a bunch of coyotes who don't give a flying crap about them. Like, if you cared at all about these people, you would stop putting them in this position and telling them to come and dangling a carrot of free stuff and schooling and all of these things, if you know that they could put themselves in danger to make the journey. So,
and the carrot is a light. Sarah, do you know the term, I don't know if you know this, but the term that the Biden administration disseminated into Mexico is now, if you're Mexican, truly Mexican, and it's hard to prove these days because you don't know, right? But if you're Mexican, you don't qualify for this. It's called exotic. They call them exotics, not brown people. The term on the border used by Border Patrol, used by the cartel.
Really?
The term is exotic. So if it's Honduras, Nicaragua, Venezuela, Cuba, those are exotics. A Mexican is not an exotic. Literally, that's the term used on the border by this administration, by the Biden administration.
Wow.
Just saying.
Well, I found this really interesting. Kinney County Sheriff's Office in Texas is actually just sending the illegal immigrants back to Mexico. Apparently, the sheriff over there, Brad Coe, called U.S. Border Patrol after a smuggling pursuit and rollover. He called them to come pick up 4 uninjured migrants who were involved, and Border Patrol agents wouldn't take them because they weren't cleared by the ER. And so they didn't have enough deputies to stay with the migrants while they were being checked out. And so the sheriff was like, yeah, okay, well, just load them back up and take them back over Eagle Pass, just drop them back off where they came from. And that's what they did.
Most of our work, work in the border is with Brad Coe.
Really?
Have you seen his mustache? I mean, he's a Texas sheriff.
That's
Brad Coe, he's also the guy that declared martial law. He declared martial law in his county and said, hey, we're going to bring some militia in and we're going to fortify the border here because you guys are... No, Brad Coe is a champion. I love it. Send them all back. Send them all back, one by one.
I mean, really, how do we fix that? Is this problem, has the damage already been done? I feel like it has. Like, there's no... how do you close Pandora's box?
I say this. Even if let's just say you shut the border down today, okay? Yeah. Dallas, Texas, right now, we're working with a school. Dallas, Texas has 2 schools because we were a safe harbor city for a minute when we had the 4,000 boys in the convention center. We have 2 schools in Dallas County that where there's 35 languages spoken in each school. The amount of nefarious characters that have come into our country already, if we shut the border down today, there's representatives of every militia, every terror cell around the world has already crossed. So yes, we can stem the influx, but what's already here?
Right.
Yeah.
They're here.
We haven't dealt with that ever.
No.
Yeah.
And they keep using a number of illegals at 11 million. They've been saying 11 million since I first got to Houston, Texas in 2001. It's 21 years later.
Yeah.
There's more like 20, 25, 30 million illegals in this country.
At least.
But first you have to shut off the
valve.
The valve.
Yeah.
You have to secure the border. But we don't have any will to do that. There's no will until Donald Trump gets back in office, or maybe Ron DeSantis. But this administration's not going to do it.
No way.
Right.
No way.
By the way, tomorrow's program, we will be covering the Supreme Court decision on Remain in Mexico policy, along with all of the recent Supreme Court decisions. So make sure that you tune into tomorrow's show as well for that. We got to take a break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Healthycell. So if you are one of the 240 million Americans who are taking, you take a daily supplement, you want to make sure that you get your vitamins and your nutrients, but you're taking it in pill form, you're actually missing out on all of these promised results because you're not absorbing the nutrients properly. You got to try Healthycell. It's more of like a gel, and it tastes delicious. It has 165% more absorption than pills. You open it up, you can just pop it right back in your mouth, or you can mix it into a smoothie, mix it in water, whatever you want to mix it in, but it tastes delicious. My entire family uses Healthycell, and you're going to know that you are actually getting the promised results, and you can feel confident that vitamin D, vitamin C, B, all of the things that you need to keep your body healthy, you're actually getting. You can go to healthycell.com/news. Use promo code news for 20% off of your order. That is healthycell.com/news, promo code news. R&B singer R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison yesterday following his conviction last year on federal racketeering and sex trafficking charges, of course, stemming from his efforts over the years to use his fame to ensnare victims that he sexually abused. Prosecutors had asked the judge to sentence him to more than 25 years behind bars. His defense attorneys asked for 10 or fewer, and they settled on 30 years. The judge did. So, look, I know, Yaku, this is your thing that you've devoted your life to. We just talked about Ghislaine Maxwell.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the 30?
Yeah, it's if you know, look
He's
at the
55,
law.
by the way.
Yeah, and actually, we should not even, and people keep saying, well, how old is the person? That doesn't matter. The law doesn't talk about that. What does the law say? I don't care if you're 90 years old and you are sex trafficking a child in Texas and you go in front of a jury of your peers, the law says 30 years. Then who cares if you're going to be 120 before you get 30 years, get life. So it's closer to what it should have been, Sarah, but you have to look at the amount of children that he indoctrinated. But then you juxtapose it with Ghislaine, and Ghislaine gets a soft circumstance because she protected people, and there is a payoff. And she's not going to sit 20 years, by the way. She'll sit 4 to 6. Is what she'll
That's
sit.
what I was wondering.
Okay? That's what she'll sit. She'll sit 4 to 6. She'll get a Martha Stewart deal. He'll probably sit 20. And it just shows you the system. There's no one for him to protect. There's no one else protecting him.
Yeah.
There's no one on the outside. There's no former president of the United States that was on the airplane in red shoes to protecting him. But they're protecting Ghislaine. It's closer. 30 years is closer. It should have been more if you really look at the cases and the law, the actual law on sex trafficking. But then again, I'll say this, under 10% of sex trafficking cases with minors actually get settled in front of a jury. It gets pleaded out of court. So this time there is a court ruling. It's closer. It's better. Ghislaine's was an atrocity. It was an absolute debacle of the justice system.
I mean, this guy in 1994 married Aaliyah when she was 15 because they thought that she had gotten pregnant or whatever. And it's like, wait a second.
Yeah, and there's been several. I mean, there's multiple accounts of him coercing girls. But remember...
Oh, I know that was not the only one at all. He built an entire network of it. I'm just saying how...
And he survived it for so long.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
And everybody knew what he was doing.
That's what I'm saying.
For years, for decades.
Our number one problem in this fight is prosecutors. I'm telling you, we've got the most corrupt district attorneys and prosecutors in this country because, heck, 80% of them are bought and paid for by yours truly, George Soros and his cronies. And so finally a case like this comes up. But guys, in my world, we rescued a 12-year-old yesterday. There's 20 of these cases a week. So for me, it's a drop in a bucket. Okay, so one bad guy, R. Kelly, who had a great, music career, gets 30 years. He should get life. Ghislaine should get life. They should die in prison. And hopefully they meet God in prison before they die and get a chance to. But so, yes, no, I'm not satisfied,
Kind
Sarah.
of bummed about not being able to attend R. Kelly concerts
Are you?
anymore. Though. Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah. It's, they meant a lot to me. And I usually saw 5 or 6 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of follow.
So you were a super fan.
An R head. No, I was an R head.
Seriously, it was 1994 that happened with Aaliyah when she's 15.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he went on.
That's almost 30 years, by the way.
1995, another album release. 1998, another album release. 2000, another album release. 2002, 2003, 2004.
Jeez.
How? 2016 was the last one.
Okay, but here's the deal. The labels protected him, but let's go to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is suspended by the NFL this year. He's going to play next year. You've got corporations covering up sexual acts of sin. They do for athletes because he's a guy. So for as long as he was relevant to his labels and he could make them money, they protected him. Now R. Kelly is no longer relevant as a name, and they've got another young class come in, so the protections go away, and the court surfaces. And if you take these cases to court, they get sentenced. But you have record labels and former presidents protecting these people. That's how it goes 28 years, unsentenced. 28 years is a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry for your loss, Pat.
Yeah, I appreciate the sympathy.
Really upset.
Yeah, on that one, Pat,
tough.
I love you, but on that one, I don't care.
You think they'll let him perform in prison? Maybe I could go
Oh, he's going to perform many
Quentin
ways.
And
Oh, no.
No, crimes against children don't go well in prison. He can't perform. He got to sing like a canary. He's never sung like this before.
oh boy.
All right, we gotta take a break. We'll be back. Oh, man. Don't drop the soap.
So we got prison love worked in there.
Oh, prison love's coming.
A pro-abortion woman was so upset over not being able to kill as many babies as she had originally hoped that she, naturally, she mailed the Supreme Court her period blood. Watch.
You know what's funny is y'all thought I was kidding. I'm a patriot.
What did she say at the end?
I'm an effing patriot.
Okay. Sarah, help me. You're the only woman at the table.
I
Because
can't.
Pat and I can never be women, even if we think we can.
I can't.
What does that do?
I wish that I could tell you. I wish that I wasn't completely
Disgusting.
embarrassed to be a woman.
No, that person does not represent you or women. That is a gross misrepresentation. What does that do? What is she gonna?
I don't know, but it's just really gross. And yesterday we talked about the Baymax show that has the clip of like the robot in the tampon aisle, and I'm like, this is gross.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this, and how did we get here, and how can I stop it?
Well, did you see the clip of the Disney people that are doing the Zoom call together? And they're talking about how, I'm doing my not so secret super gay agenda in all the Disney movies.
Right.
This is their goal.
Yeah.
They for whatever reason have decided that they're going to fill our children with their sexual agenda.
Yeah, I had the
And
clip of the.
if we let them.
If you let them.
It's time to shut down on the Disney nonsense.
I had the clip of the San Francisco gay choir singing, we're coming for your children, you won't know it, we're going to indoctrinate your children, that nonsense.
They were just kidding.
Yeah.
But they really weren't.
No, they weren't. Well, I mean,
They weren't.
Look, I can go off on this. I mean, it goes straight back into Genesis. God literally says there will be enmity, which means war between the seed of the woman and between Satan's seed. And this is what we're seeing today. They're coming after life and life itself. They're completely degrading who you are as a woman. That woman does not represent you. You're an amazing mom and a woman. It's disgusting what we tolerate in this country, and we need to stop tolerating sin.
It really is. Like I've had two babies, right? Like there are a lot of things that have happened with my body, and I gotta tell you, the last thing I ever want to talk about with anyone is period blood. Like I just don't.
We don't want to talk that with you either.
I don't understand why there's this push to like normalize talking about it. What was that? Wasn't there like a commercial not that long ago that they showed like blood stains and stuff? And it's like I don't.
No, Vogue and Image magazines had men with underwear on with blood stains in the underwear. I'm like, buddy, look again. That blood's not actually coming from where you think it's coming from.
Get to a doctor immediately. Please. Get to a doctor.
You need help.
It's just so sick and depraved. Everything about their
demonic,
platform.
Man. It's demonic. These are people that are in agreement with the Prince of Darkness. I mean, it's demonic.
And really, honestly, all you have to do is go to, like when I went to the Dallas protest and I watched these people and I saw them for myself, I was like, there is a whole lot of really negative energy and like demonic stuff taking place. This is the only way that I could use to describe it. And so angry, and they're like twerking for abortion rights, which like that you're not doing anything except just completely degrading yourself.
Absolutely.
And you love it. Like they loved it. They thought it was so cute and funny. And I'm just like.
No, but there's that identityless and attention depraved, Sarah, that they would do anything to get a moment of attention.
I know, it's
sick.
really sad. All right, make sure that you tune in to tomorrow's program. We're going to go over all of the recent Supreme Court decisions. Pat Gray, of course, host of Pat Gray Unleashed. Yaku Booyens, host of The Bottom Line. Thank you, guys.